You are listening to the Iconic Agent New Construction Marketing Podcast.
I'm Nathaniel Crawford.
And I'm Damon Green.
We've helped agents sell over $400 million in new construction since 2020.
And now we're here to skyrocket your sales. Let's build your real estate empire and create the life you deserve. In this episode, Nate and I discuss keeping a new construction pipeline in a down market is all about knowing and implementing the fundamentals and how important the fundamentals towards anyone's success. So Nate, an interesting phenomenon happened about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, rates went up, market went up, and everybody and their grandmothers.
Rates went down, market went up.
Yes, rates went down, market went up. Everybody and their grandmother became an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty easy to sell homes.
Yes.
You had and they used to talk about the retirees, and my man Rob used to talk about retirees and part-timers that were in kind of, capitalize on
school teachers and strippers and barbers and
everybody,
hairstylists,
somebody, because it was easy.
Ice cream man.
Yeah. So different times, same with entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs got in, they took advantage of stuff because everybody was buying, they were at home. We're in a different time now.
Yep.
So, and with the NAR lawsuit, we're starting to see kind of agents dropping off, especially like a lot of clients I have. We're seeing people dropping off like flies because it's harder. They can't provide their value. So what are your thoughts on like where it was? It was like that was the top for anybody to want to be an agent versus where it is now. It's a different skill level or skill in general, I believe, that is needed that wasn't necessarily needed before. So what are your thoughts on that? And what's some advice that you have for agents to weather the storm? Because you've been through the last crash and issues.
The fundamentals. I think the fundamentals of real estate don't change, right? I've heard basketball coaches say all the time, if you shoot a free throw consistently, you can hit any shot. If you want to be a successful basketball player at any level, you should be able to dribble with both hands and do a layup with both hands. Like just basic stuff, right? If you know the fundamentals, okay, that doesn't make you LeBron, but it might make you like Horace Grant or somebody, at least be on the team.
Yeah.
You can earn the check. Like you can get a living, so to speak. Doesn't get Horace Grant. He was not a bad guy, but point being is, you get a ring, you get a ring. But the point being is that I think a lot of real estate agents, when they come into the business, they don't learn how to dribble with their left hand. They walk into oh my gosh, the market is super hot. I'm a teacher. I know a bunch of teachers. I'm going to sell real estate to a bunch of teachers. And they make a whole bunch of money selling real estate to teachers until they can't. And then when you run out of teachers because the market goes up, because interest rates change, because, any number of reasons, and you don't have a way to generate leads. You don't know how to articulate value. You're not able to talk the same language. Selling real estate to teachers in Broward County is different than me selling real estate to, teachers in West Palm, right? So there's not this, you're not speaking the same language. So then when it gets hard and you don't want to sort of fall back and learn how to do what needs to be done, or you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the ability to, because you need to make some money, put you in a tight spot. And that's part of the reason, especially with South Florida, we see a lot of that international money come in and people are like, oh, I can sell real estate to other people that are from where I'm from. So that flight capital becomes a really powerful draw.
Well, referrals are good sources of business, probably one of the best. The problem with referrals is it's not scalable. It's icing on the cake.
Well, it's not scalable if you don't have a way to get predictable referrals. I've met agents who their whole lifeblood is Brazil, Argentina, Russia, all types of Toronto. If you have a pipeline and you can do your job, you know how to provide your value, you know how to articulate your value, you know how to show people, you have a system where you're running ads or generating a steady, predictable, consistent flow of leads. There are agents that both you and I know, their whole business is referrals, and they don't even tell anybody. They make it seem like all of these leads that they have are theirs, and that's not true. I wouldn't put them on blast here, but that's what they do. So if you know that, that's great. But a lot of agents don't know how to do anything predictably or consistently. And when they don't know how to do that and the money's not falling from the sky anymore, they leave. When the market was super hot in 2006 to 7, 8, and anybody with a pulse could get a mortgage, there were people out here that made millions of dollars. And then when the market crashed, those same people became managers at Walmart.
It's like that. It's like the ball player. We all know somebody that's living in the heyday. Like, yeah, back in the day, I was this all-star, and then after high school or after college, nobody gives a damn. Like, they living in that moment before. A lot of agents are doing that. Like, they were top producers once, and now they don't have the skills to remain and continue being top producers because they're not.
And that's the ball player that was a ball player and now owns a bunch of McDonald's franchises is the guy who knew how to pivot.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
the same thing for the real estate agent who was the top producer when the market was super hot and is still a top producer when it's no longer that. In markets like South Florida, where you have when the dollar is really strong, you get a bunch of domestic money. When the dollar is really weak, you get a bunch of international money, and you know how to navigate that. You have a marketing funnel, you have a new construction funnel that's helping you navigate these things. That's super easy. But when you don't have that, then you pay the price.
Something else I found interesting with the pipeline, agents talk about a pipeline like it's cliche, but if you stop and think, because we've had this happen, when the Alaskan pipeline, something happened to it and it got shut down. What happened?
Gas was $52 a gallon.
And then you couldn't get gas. So everybody's struggling. That's the same thing with the pipeline for agents. Like, if you don't keep those leads flowing through, keep people rolling through, and they'll stop. And then they're like, okay, business isn't going anywhere because you stopped your pipeline.
Yeah.
You got to remain consistent with it.
A pipeline is like financial insurance.
Yes.
When the market is good, you don't have to have a pipeline because the money's everywhere. I can just go to the gas station and talk to 3 people and get a real estate deal. I can go out to dinner and the valet is a real estate investor. And that it's hilarious, but that was a thing when the market was hot. Everybody, $500, I can buy this and I can buy that and I can buy this. Well, when you can get that, and if you come into real estate and that's your experience, there's money everywhere, then, and you don't have anyone around you that's like, hey man, you gotta have a pipeline. You're like, no, pipeline, man. I can go to Burger King and get buyers. That's
Go to church every week.
And that's what people do. There were people who was real estate at church, at a swim team, basketball team, because literally there were buyers everywhere because if you had a pulse, you could get that. Yep. Then when the interest rates were super low, there were people that were buying and selling and buying and selling. Now all these people are locked in with these super low rates.
Nowhere.
You got golden handcuffs. You got $200,000 worth of equity, and you don't want to sell because you don't want to use your equity to go get a 7% mortgage.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to navigate that, because there's plenty of ways, assumable mortgages and all types of other opportunities, but if you don't know how to navigate that, then you get stuck with that, and you end up having to go back to get what some of us would term a real job.
JOB.
Get a supervisor.
Yeah. Those fundamentals, though, is definitely. I think also agents they're not. When you get your license, legit, they teach you a bunch of legal stuff you'll probably never use.
They teach you to pass the test.
They teach you to pass the test.
That's it.
And they talk about farming and prospecting. They don't give you details. When I sat in real estate school and get my license, we know about Sam's conversation he had, but when I sat in there and I told the instructor who was instructing for years, he was an awesome dude too. He was one of the best instructors. When I told him what he did, he looked at me like, yeah, well, I'm just going to go. I do things the way that I do them.
Because they teach to pass the test. That's it. They teach that book that Myron Golden talks about, Weapons of Mass Instruction. If you read that book, it will scare the shit out of you. And it explains anybody who's ever come through the education system in the last 50 years. I say this, and I come from a family of education.
Yes.
People don't teach at all. They don't. They teach you in any form of education. They teach you to pass whatever the test is, because that's how we, over the last 100 years, our brains have been wired since Henry Ford. You just got to pass the test. What is it going to be on the test? When you sit in class, my wife, Talia was getting her real estate license. The only question they ask in the class is this going to be on the test? If it's going to be on the test, then it's worth me memorizing. If there's not going to be on the test, I don't need to memorize it. That's the thing. And so when you come into real estate and nobody says, hey, this is going to be on the test, you need to know how to feed your family to do this, then it doesn't get filed in that way. And if you don't have anybody that's walking you through that, then you get stuck. So,
and I guess the other thing too, one of the other potential solutions is in this situation, number one, fundamentals, yes, but also you got to niche down. Pick a lane. You don't serve everybody. You can't work with everybody. It's impossible. We work with luxury new construction, and new construction.
Man,
that's
who
our bag.
chases two rabbits catches none.
Yes. So you got to niche down. Like it seems counterintuitive, but until you do it, and then you're like, oh shit, I didn't even. This really works. It's one of those things like you don't experience it and don't understand it until you actually experience it. Thanks for tuning in to the Iconic Agent New Construction Marketing Podcast for Realtors. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast player. Visit theiconicagent.com and grab the new construction buyer traction blueprint. And don't forget, join the 5,000 plus strong new construction marketing community at www.theiconicagent.com/community. Catch you on the next episode.